Hello and welcome to many sessions into Impulse Drive using the Coriolis setting. We are here today with a little bit of a changeover. Unfortunately, we had to bump a session because I had tech issues that I could have probably just switched over to StreamYard, but I ended up spending an hour trying to fix Zoom last time. So that is on me. But here we are. Unfortunately, it means we didn't get closure for Leandro's story of Recusant. But I think I will check in with Leandro and get a sense of where they go. I think there's some obvious things on there about where they might stay after the events of the last session, but we'll come back to that. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. The Gauntlet Hangouts is an online gaming community. It is focused on games, has a gaming calendar. We have a Patreon that helps support that, membership at that. Also, you can get our monthly zine, also supports our podcasts. We have a community that exists to support that. And if you're interested in online gaming, you should check that out at gauntlet-rpg.com. So, Rich, you've played Impulse Drive before, so you are the big veteran of this. And I kind of threw you in cold, gave you the character keeper for this, and let you make up a character based on what you saw. So let me have you tell us about what you've got, and then I'll have the other players introduce themselves. Before I get too much further, though, just as a reminder, since we've had a break, and Rich, you may want to add to this, here are our lines and veils for the game. We are using the X card as our safety tool, but our lines are sexual assault, suicide, and torture, and our veils are on eye injuries and harm to animals. So those are on there. If there's anything else anybody's, Rich or other people want to add to that as we go along, feel free to do so. So Rich,
also a line on spiders, which seems to be conspicuously invisible to you over and over again.
Oh, yep, spiders. Sorry, it's literally right where my mic is, so I don't see it. So I generally avoid spiders because I found out that a friend of like 20 some years had a spider phobia, and I did not know it, and I had been using a lot of spiders in the game. And had I had an X card or lines and veils, I wouldn't have had that problem, and he wouldn't have kind of been a little flipped out about it. A big dude too. Rich, tell us about your character.
Well, hold on a second. Let me mark out that part where she has a pet spider.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, there we go. I am playing Mumitom Bifrati. She is a humanite because I think those are fascinating, and I really wanted to explore that idea of kind of created genetically superior being that suffers a whole lot of speciesism as a result. The archetype is the soldier. Mumitom is just a stone cold badass. Okay. And she's also a bonded trooper. So she has all the licenses to procure restricted weapons and gear. Yeah, she's just real good at, as a juggernaut, moving through unflinchingly towards goals. And yeah, she's seen a lot of action. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I tried to keep things nice and simple,
sure,
because I didn't get a chance to watch all of the previous.
You will actually get an additional advance. So you may take...
Oh, I will take it.
You may take that as an ability, or a move, or a stat raise. Now, I see we've got an outfit, and we've even got an animated GIF.
I know.
Or GIF, however you wish to say that.
It's an animated picture. Yeah, there we go.
So tell us, have they seen you without this outfit? Is this a more Mandalorian thing where you keep your face concealed?
I think I would assume, and actually if you drop down to row 136, I dropped in a pic of what she looks like, sans armor, but she rarely does go without her armor, just because I don't know, like, is there a way to tell someone is a humanite?
Well, that's a question for you.
Huh.
We've established we've seen other humanites. They met some people that had clearly some genetic engineering done to them, where they were actually had been bonded into service and had escaped, and they had very visible signs of their genetic changes.
Like they had gills or whatever.
Yeah, the equivalent of that. But I think that's a more radical thing. I imagine that if people wanted it to be concealed, they could, maybe, or do they mark people in that way? What do you think?
I don't know if you guys have ever seen the old show Space Above and Beyond, but one of the characters was a vat grown character, and so they actually, I thought this is weird, but I'm gonna go with it. They didn't have a belly button, so I think that's like one possibility, and I think maybe like barcodes on the back of her neck kind of deal.
Does she hide that she's a humanite?
I think the fact that she's in the armor, one could easily infer that she's hiding that she's a humanite. Yeah, and I also think the fact that she's pretty scarred up is also a thing, that she doesn't necessarily wear her scars with pride. And I also think that she's had both of her eyes replaced. Like she has to use cybernetic eyes. That she caught some shrapnel. So,
do you think that? I mean, was she with a like a particular, like a mercenary company or a military branch or private corporate army? What do you think?
Yes, all three. She's
all
bounced
three.
Around. She's
okay.
She's been in service and out of service for over probably 15 years at this point.
And originally, was she created for a particular force, or is it just, or was she part of a community?
Yes, but why don't we say yes? But like, is there one that you could easily slide into the extant story?
Yeah, I think that we can make it that you were part of one of the Lascarid family corporate troopers, like guards for the corporate side of things.
Sounds good.
And the other thing is, feel free, in the folder I've got like the advanced, like the gear list with some of the advanced stuff, because you haven't been here for a bit. If you want to look through, and if there's like something from that advanced list you want to take, like a cybernetic thing or something, feel free to pick one of those as well, in addition to the move that you take.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let's go through and have our existing characters describe themselves and their hooks, and then we'll come to Mumatan and get where that is. So let's. I'm torn between the two people that have the most hooks here to start with, but I think we'll start with our captain, Captain Nikos. Please tell us about your who you are, what your role is in the group, and what your hooks are.
Captain Nikos Jemson. He is kind of a Han Solo type. He's always talking his way out of trouble, and often talking his way into trouble along the way, just sort of snowballing out of one crisis into another crisis until he somehow gets out the other side. And he has a past in law enforcement, which is probably where he first encountered Mumitan. And he also has connections to the Lascarid family, because in recent weeks he's been searching for a route to the lost systems, the greater galactic community, which we've been cut off from, and which Nikos believes in, and not necessarily a lot of other people do. We've been searching for a set of discs that supposedly contain the data that somebody else who is looking for the same thing had gathered, and the Lascarid family we've been gotten in their crosshairs as a result. And we've also established that my brother was recruited by one of the Foundation's research projects. He has since disappeared. And one of my side quests is trying to rescue him. I have almost discovered the name of the project, which took him. I tried to find this out in a previous session, and things went spectacularly wrong.
Spectacularly. Yeah, and I love that you're terrible with beer. That's one of my favorite things.
Yes, and I am terrible with beer. I tend to squander the money we make as soon as we make it. So we may be getting close to being overdue on ship maintenance.
Yes. We'll come to that when you reach Coriolis. Sherry, how about you tell us about Kalaba?
Sure, as soon as I get the cat off of my mouse. Okay, so Calabar is a scientist. She's a very sincere and sciencey scientist. She actually specialized in ship systems, but she had no technical skills. So probably when you knew her, she was still reading all of the manuals in order to do the most basic things, even though she knew how the systems worked. She just didn't know where the buttons were or how to open the menus. So she is super sincere. She is super intent on finding the truth, understanding what's going on. She can't read people for the life of her. She has no sense. And if you're on the crew, she believes everything you say. And she, because of course the captain wouldn't choose anyone who's a bad person. And she will back you up if you say, if it's your specialty, she will do exactly what you tell her to do, with unquestioningly. And other than that, she also had a run-in with the Lascarids. Essentially, she was in a situation where she was working on a new experimental ship, and she found some weird heretical programming in it. Sort of design. And so when she got her next break, she took a vacation. She left with the intent to go and find out about, like, to consult about that to see if she actually understood it. And just as her ship departed from that experimental vessel, it disappeared. It didn't go anywhere. It just disappeared. And there's no trace to be found. And she ended up being blamed for the disappearance. So anyway, she didn't do it, and she knows there was something wrong with it. So that's her tie-in with the Lascarids. She's also, of the current crew, the most devoted to the icons, because she believes in order and those things. So other than that, she's basically in over her head. So there you go.
Okay. And speaking of in over their head, let's have Kyrie introduce themselves.
Rude. So I'm playing Kyrie Al-Dawood. He's the Mystic class, and his background comes from when he was very young. He showed some promise, some talent for psychic abilities, was taken by the Order of the Pariah, which I believe is a subset of the Judge icon worship.
Yeah.
And experimented on psychological, physical torture, all sorts of things, drugs, bios, to like bring out his psychic abilities. He's got some fairly good telepathy and TK at this point. But he's emotionally very unstable, what with having been kidnapped and tortured as a child. He's been looking into the Order of the Pariah since we started, and they've been looking back into him with the Black Hounds. They're sort of psychic hunters that they send out. The Hounds seem to undergo a different process than Kyrie did, and I still don't know whether that was like I underwent an early version of the process, or I just underwent something totally different than what they are. But he's become connected to, sort of feels bad for one of them, Amit, a hound that we met along the way, and through that he's now been looking into the hounds and like what he could do to try and change their circumstances. And in all of his like emotional vulnerability and inadvisably talking to the dark over and over again, we have run across a entity, some sort of psychically powerful entity that calls itself a djinn. And he knows that it calls itself a djinn because he gave it an inroad into his head, and now he can't get it out. Oh, and I picked up who plans to pick up virtual interface. So I'm starting to explore like telepathy with machines and interacting with AIs and stuff like that, but it's very overwhelming for him. Oh, and I suppose physically, he's bald and covered in tattoos, lots of different languages. They're mostly like scriptures or prayers of many different faiths, of different icons, of some like older non-icon based worships. They're his mantras and focusing techniques to help him try and control his abilities and get his brain calm.
Excellent. So, Rich, with that in mind, let's start with your relationships, and then we'll look at your hooks. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So you've got a set of those, and again, if none of those work, feel free to modify or come up with new ones. But we'll do it as we would with other things, where you can say, "Oh, I think this might be X," or you can put it out there for people.
I think Kalaba. I think I'm going to go with I'll protect Kalaba from anything, even herself. Because that just seems like she needs it based off what we've just learned about her character. So I'll just add that. You okay with that, Sherry?
Thumbs up from Sherry.
All right, awesome. Sorry, I don't look at the screen enough. Let's see. Yeah, I don't like the fought side by side or left me for dead for this group. I don't think.
Okay.
I do think I'll go with Kyrie. Is that how you're saying it, or am I saying Kyrie? Kyrie. I think I'm going to go with Kyrie's highly skilled, a quality I respect. So I respect Kyrie's psychic influence.
We have obviously not worked closely much.
Yeah, I just read the files. There's files probably a little flawed. I'm okay with that.
By which I mean Kyrie is a highly skilled operative, and you should treat him like a professional at all times.
Exactly. Yeah, I really like Nikos. Let me glance over some of these others. Let's see.
Yeah, I would operative, preacher, negotiator.
Let's see. Oh wow, these are pretty interesting. But I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. The first one under negotiator might be.
Oh, that's interesting. Are you interested, Stephen? Are you interested in Nikos and I have seen everything together? We're close to the family. Nothing will pull us apart.
Yeah, that works.
All right.
I like the idea, since we've established that Kyrie and Kala are more recent to the crew. It could be that you were one of the first people to work with Nikos, and you've been off doing something else, and now you're coming back.
Yeah. I got frozen in carbonite or something. Who knows?
Fell into a sarlacc pit, you know.
It happens.
So what are you thinking about for your hooks?
Great question.
Just need 2 of those.
Yeah, let me. And the hooks are listed right there with the relationships.
Yeah, they are right below that. I need to break those out.
That's cool. Just making sure I was looking in the right place. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the top 2 there. I'm addicted to Opor and use it after doing things on the battlefield I'd rather forget, and wars numb me to suffering, whether it's my own or someone else's.
Okay. And so let me tell you how hooks are used in the way that we play. And again,
good. I hope it's not the rules as written, because
right, we'll check in at the beginning of next session to make sure you're cool with it. So we do it as you imagine, a little bit differently. You have the option, if your hook applies, to take disadvantage on a roll, and that is to lean into maybe getting XP on a miss. That is purely optional. Otherwise, what we're going to do is at the end of the game, we're going to ask, did one or more of your hooks create problems for you? Cool. If they did, you get to mark an XP. That's it.
Nice,
okay?
Simple, and
yeah,
I like it.
All right. So let me set up where we're at, what has happened. I'll check in with the players to see if there was anything else they wanted to do on planet, but we'll bring ourselves then to Coriolis. So last session, they were pursuing the 3rd of 5 pieces of this disk. They went to a planet in the Kua system, which is where Coriolis, the big station, is, the sort of hub of the galactic civilization now. It is the Zenithians and the first comers. That split is the Zenithian stronghold. They went to this planet that is very much a kind of a desert planet that has a band of oases. They went there in pursuit of the person who they knew had this 3rd piece, a guy named Burdukan. They knew there was some weird things up with Burdukan. They weren't sure exactly what that was about. They went there, and long story short, Burdukan's disc had apparently contained a fragment of a Jinn, and like a broken, kind of very bad, twisted piece of it that had been driving him for a while, and he had apparently come here in some ways to escape it, or to at least keep it damped down. He had thrown the disc into a lake that was nearby, but the spirit still kind of rode him and had him killing people with psychic talents, essentially to absorb their energy. And of course, the group eventually came face to face with Burdukan, with this entity who stepped in, and they were able to, because they had created some devices and had prepared some stuff that they didn't know exactly what it was going to be for, but they were able to disrupt that entity out of Burdukan, and essentially kind of put Burdukan's, let's say, soul to rest, for want of a better term. You're not sure exactly what happened with that, but Burdukan did not survive the experience. But they were able to get some of Burdukan's papers and things, but they also, more importantly, found out where the disc was, got the disc, and got out of Dodge. Am I leaving out important details from that anyone recalls?
I'd say as an overall story thing, I brought up the Order of Pariah as sort of a personal problem, but in this growing hunt for the discs, they also seem to have always been where we're going. About 10 minutes before we got there, sort of thing. It started out as seemingly like genuinely coincidental, but since we, or specifically Kyrie, started messing with them, they've started to figure out that we're on the hunt for these things as well.
I will also say that that particular statement comes in Kyrie's voice, who is paranoid about the Order of Pariah, and has made certain assumptions about the presence of the Order of Pariah in different places.
Completely true. All of it true.
Just saying. The other person that they had with them was a former Hassassin named Recusant, who encountered a what may or may not have been another former Hassassin who offered them a chance to maybe find a place of peace for themselves. And so in this story moment, we'll check in with Leandro later, but we're going to assume that Recusant is there or has gone off to follow that particular path. The other thing I want to mention, Rich, the particularly Coriolis-based mechanic that we have here is under the special moves at the bottom of that first column. You will notice that we have a new move called Commune with the Icons. Essentially, once per session, you can reach out to the icons to gain their blessing. You roll with nothing unless you are at your ship, which has essentially a place of worship. If you're there, you can either roll with your weird or you can roll with advantage. And on a 10 plus, you get to hold 2. On a 1, you get to hold 1, and then you can spend those to gain advantage on a roll related to a particular icon, and the icons are listed then down below. It does come with some risk, because if the icons leave you out in the cold and silence of the void, it gets under your skin. So we bring the group back to Coriolis. They have the ship has docked there at Coriolis. There is no no payout yet, because this wasn't a job that would have actually given them anything. But you've arrived back in town, and let me have you, Stephen, roll the crew is back in town. Your disposition on Coriolis remains a 0.
That is a 10.
That is a 10. Everything seems clear. The tensions that are behind the scenes are still there rumbling, but it seems that there's been some negotiations between essentially the staunch hardliners and the Zenithians who are bringing mystics on board. That seems to be down to a low simmer rather than reaching a boiling point. I will point out that your ship right now is 1 tick away from being past due on maintenance, and your feud fuse, your feud fuse is 2 ticks away, and we ticked those at the end of the last session, so they're not going to go up today. But you have arrived back on Coriolis, and you have gotten message that your crewmate Mumaton has also arrived and is ready to meet up with you. So let's assume that this happens in one of the waiting areas off of the docking zones here. Again, Coriolis is huge, and there are multiple ships docking, still more ships out kind of waiting and hanging, or on the secondary, almost like space station, smaller docks that are out there. And it's busy, cosmopolitan, a crossroads, densely packed. And Mumiton, before we introduce you, bring everybody together, what have you been doing for the last several weeks?
I think that Mutan has been working on a job for a Merc team with an old associate, not a friend. Like they went on a little, hey, this will be some easy money, and it went terribly wrong, and she ended up running for her life, and half the team died.
Ooh. You've gotten word that the Gambler's Vows is docking. You go to the waiting area for that. When you get there, you will notice that there are a group of teenagers there, gangly, ill-dressed, awkward. They all have bags and things with them, and they're kind of standing around. They see you, and they're like, clearly like, what is it? Who is this? And they kind of huddle together. They are also clearly waiting for the Gambler's Vows.
Gambler's Vows has become some kind of common. No, Nikos would do something more interesting than that.
And the door will open. Nikos, Kyrie, Kala, you will come in, and you will see Mumiton, and you will see the group of the former circus teens standing awkwardly off to the side. They have the look of having been overwhelmed in the few days that you have been gone. Like Coriolis it's like you left them in New York City on their own for a few days and said, hey, the youth hostel is down on level 8, and then let them go. Nikos, you see Mumiton.
Yeah, I mean, I will walk over and I embrace him, and then
Her.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Her. And then like that, you're in that armor, who can tell? Yeah. Right. And then I glance over at the kids and I wave for them to get on board. It's like, Mumiton, it is good to see you. You won't believe what we've discovered.
I'm willing to believe a great deal of things, except, are you a passenger liner now?
Oh yeah, well, we were on our way to the Awadi system anyway, so we picked up some circus kids. Pay the bills,
Oh, Nico.
Kids who ran away to the circus, they need to get back to their families.
I guess it pays bills.
Yeah, I know, and also, I mean, it's the circus. It's the same circus that came to my home planet. Like, I got to dance with clowns. It was great.
You and clowns. Calabar, Kyrie, are they still with the crew? They haven't been killed?
Oh yeah, nobody's been killed.
Oh, good. Good fortune to you. Then.
Yes.
The idols bless you. Good.
Yes.
Do you have space for an old warrior?
Absolutely. Come on in, and like we'll go back when we get back to the crew. We get to the lounge, and there are like these balloons up there that say that spell out goodbye, recusant. We just had a crew member leave, and so we've got an empty cabin. It's like completely empty. They stripped it when they left. So,
oh, good. I travel light.
Kyrie, when Mumiton sees you, what is the thing that tells Mumiton that you have been through some shit?
I think as he's going through the halls, he just he doesn't even like register that Mumatun's there, doesn't say hello to her or anything, and is just like running his fingers up and down his arms and muttering to himself these chants over and over again.
Good to see you too, Kyrie.
What? Who? Oh, hello.
Do you remember me, friend?
Yes, obviously. Mummy something? Mummy killer.
Mumiton.
Yep. It's what it's just been a lot of how are you?
I'm here. I'm glad to see you. And where's Kala?
She's engines or computer or something sciencey probably.
Probably. I'll find her.
Yeah.
And Kala, when Mumitan finds you, what's the thing that tells her that you're exactly the same?
I think it's that she's clearly like bringing the engines, down into that standby mode that you do after you come back after essentially the flight. But she's clearly like, she's going through and she's setting it. She's got it in standby. She goes and checks some stuff. She makes a bunch of things. She brings them back up and then drops it into standby, watching all of the meters until she gets it like this perfect line across there. Like she just always does that. That when she leaves her engines in standby, that there's no anomaly, like no part of the system is still revving or hasn't come down to quiet state yet. You see her kind of bringing it up, checking the monitors, and then she pats it.
Kala, as long as it's within 5%, everything else after that is wasted effort.
She goes, if it gives me calm, is it wasted?
Fair.
It's good to see you, Mumita. Will you be traveling with us?
Yes, along with some teenage carny folk, it seems.
Did anyone tell you what we're doing?
Well, no, not at all.
Are you going to another job? I don't want to assume. I shouldn't assume. That would be
No, my last job ended unexpectedly.
Oh, okay, good. You should come and sit with me in the tech chair. And
Yes.
she goes, this is where, anyway, the old tech that was with us was not a tech at all. They were a assassin.
Aha!
I just thought they were terrible at tech the whole time. I feel awful that I so terribly misjudged her. Anyway, so this is what we've done. And she pulls out a bag and she shows you these discs. These have something to do with the hidden gate, and there's a djinn trapped inside. This is ancient stuff.
Djinn trapped inside, and this is part of the gate. So where are we hiding this so no one can ever find it?
In my bag, right here.
Kala, that's not a very good hiding place.
It's a great hiding place. Why would I be carrying it around with me, right?
True. That puts you in a great deal of danger, Kala.
That's okay. I just want the best place for it. And if I know where it is, I know it's safe. So we have 3 of the 5 discs. Pretty cool, huh? We are going to visit the nomads over in another thing. That's why we have the kids with us, is because that's an excuse to go there. And then there's someone there who might have another disc. Hopefully it won't be a horrible scene like it was with the last disc. We had to kill a person, and there was djinn. And
just one?
There was a big fight with the djinn. That didn't go really smoothly, at least not for Kyrie. He seems kind of upset still. But
He does. He seems off kilter.
Yeah. But you, how did things go for you? Tell me it was good.
It was good.
I'm glad to hear that. So, should we celebrate?
I don't think it was that good.
Oh, all right. Well, then let's concentrate on doing something worth celebrating.
Yes. We should take Kyrie, Nikos, and you, as these teenagers cause a mess as they are wont to do. We should get something to drink.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So let me ask the Nikos, Kyrie, everyone. Do you want to check in here on Coriolis? Do you want to do there? Because we can certainly do a scene there or two, or shall we move on to the next system?
Well, I still need to make the handoff of this mysterious item.
Oh yeah, that's right. So let's actually start with that. Nico says you're going to have some time here on Coriolis before you take off. Nikos, you have still not opened the box, right?
Right.
Okay. And you go to one of essentially the info terminal dead drops. And this time, the drop is actually taking place on one of the upper levels. There is they don't call them gambling houses there, they call them casinos. But there's a casino up there that you are to go to, and you are to hand it off discreetly to one of the dealers there.
Okay.
Any preparations you want to do before you go to hand that off?
I think I'm going to ask Mumitan to trail me as backup.
Thank you.
It'll be fine. The last time this happened, the only reason it went wrong is that I happened to walk into a drug raid at the wrong time. I'm sure it was a coincidence.
I'm sure you're right. I'll watch your back, friend.
And you will head up as you go up higher levels on Coriolis. Essentially it gets ritzier, it gets wealthier, and there are probably some more checks there. You get to that level where even with your licenses, you have to essentially put your heavy arms in a box before you get off of the level there, Mumitan.
Do I? Huh. So I will present these licenses I happen to have. I have the proper licenses to procure restricted weapons and gear. So it doesn't mean I'm permitted to carry them. So maybe I can't, but I'll try.
Yeah, you expect to go. Yes, no, we understand you're permitted to own these items, but on this level, the security is higher. If you wish to get off on this level, then you will have to store them here with security.
Understood. And she'll hand over her stuff.
Okay. And you will move through this level, whereas down below it's much more cosmopolitan and varied. Different peoples and cultures and things like that. Up here, very Zenithian, very modern fashions. There are non-Zenithians, but they are in more domestic positions, working and so on. And you will come into this is a nice casino, Nikos. This is a very nice casino.
Okay. And I'll walk in like I am. This is absolutely the kind of place I would gamble.
Absolutely.
I absolutely have the money to gamble in a place like this.
You will go in, and you're going to look for your contact, right?
Right.
Then I think that we are in a situation where we'll do keep your cool. You're a little bit under pressure. You've had that bad experience last time. You're trying to stay to fly casual.
And I get a 4.
That is a 4. Well, first of all, let's have you suffer a stress.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to look cool, but I am definitely sweating as I come in here.
Yeah, Mumaton, you will realize, I'm going to save the other thing here for a second. You will realize as you come in that Nikos, who usually plays it pretty smooth,
Mm-hmm.
does not. He is definitely kind of cracking.
Okay.
Um,
I'll keep a close eye on him.
Okay. And Nikos, you will head over to the thing. You catch the eye of your contact there, the person you're meant to give the handoff to, and they come over to, they finish their dealing. They hand it off to the table off to someone else, and they come over to where you're at to make the pickup. What is the thing that tells you that this is not really your contact?
There's something in the eyes that I recognize. This is actually law enforcement.
Yeah, there's a particular glint to the cyber eye that they have that you recognize as a particular model you use for sting operations. And this person comes over, clearly undercover, like, you got the goods?
Goods? I'm sorry?
He says the code phrase to you.
I think you have me confused with somebody else.
Mumaton, you see this guy kind of looks a little nervous. There's that palpitation in the throat that tells you that there's a little bit of subvocal communication going on, like they're calming with somebody else, like getting the, okay, what do I do now kind of thing. And this guy says, no, it's cool. It's cool.
I'll move up and put a hand on his shoulder. It appears that you're mistaken. Perhaps you should move on. And then I'll squeeze.
Let's have you roll with volatile.
Okay. I can do that. Got an 8.
Okay. Apparently we have a misunderstanding. I apologize, sir, and madam. Has been a grave misunderstanding.
No harm done. But I think perhaps I will take my money elsewhere. I feel like This is not the standard I expect of a Coriolis system.
And he bows. You can tell he's getting, what you would have done in this case is, okay, de-escalate. We don't have anything on them. Let them go. We'll just record their faces for later. That kind of classic thing. And he bows as if to acknowledge and apologize. And you can head out safely.
Yeah, and I think I'm not going. I'm going to head straight back to the ship.
Okay.
And
I'll notice that and kind of, Nico's friend, perhaps we get a drink. Listen, that was not good. Heading straight back to your ship might not be the best idea.
they've got our faces. They'll figure out who we are anyway. This was somehow there's been a leak from the other end.
Okay, so we're leaving the station.
I still need to make the handoff, but it may be too risky to do it here. We'll have to see if we can arrange an off. We'll see if we have to arrange a handoff at some other system.
Okay.
Kala, while you are here on Coriolis, what are you up to? Is it trying the food court again? Or do you have more concrete plans?
I really enjoy the food court. Don't get me wrong, and I can always include it. I can take the kids with me when I figure out that some of them haven't had anything to eat the whole 2 days we've been gone. But what I'm actually doing is trying to figure out how to mess up the Lascarid wedding plans. Not very duplicitous, though, so it's very hard. I may have to go and well, actually, I'll probably ask the kids what they would do. Like, I'll come up with a ridiculous analogy to the situation.
So the bride had something like wrong with them?
Yeah, not that they're a bad person.
So you don't want to like leak that that's what happened?
Not really. I don't want anything bad to happen to her.
What do you know about the groom? Are they clean or are they shady?
That's a good question. I assume
You could do a honey pie, one of them says.
a what?
It's a honey trap. Oh yeah, a honey trap. You get a girl and or a guy, I don't know, and will approach the groom and catch them in a compromising position.
But see, that assumes that the marriage is one of that the two involved hold each other in regard. This would have to be something that would like destroy the whole family's reputation. Which sounds lovely, but I'm not sure if I can do that.
Like, I don't know. The most we learned is how to skim off of guests.
How do you do that?
And they begin to tell you little tricks for games and for how do you spot a high roller in a crowd who might have extra money that could fall out of their pockets, kind of thing. They say we're not very good at it, but they showed us.
Well, it's good theory, though, isn't it?
Yeah, we didn't want to do it here because we didn't want to get in trouble.
Oh yeah, if you'd gotten in trouble here, it would have been in a completely different terrain. That was very clever. And then she goes back and counts and makes sure she's got all of them.
Yes.
In case one of them did the skimming trick and got caught. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
I will think on that then.
All right. Kyrie, what are you doing during your time here on Coriolis Station?
So I think I've sort of used up the leads that Rishwan has right now in the network.
Yeah.
Sort of pushed my luck up there recently.
A little bit?
A little bit. But since we are here on Coriolis, I'm imagining it's like a huge sort of information hub for the
Oh,
whole
absolutely.
so I might try and find my way towards like somewhere where I could try and push my mind into a computer network and figure out something about the hounds or the order that way.
Sure, that sounds like share expertise or scope it out.
Look at this. So,
Share
Yeah, I'm
expertise
gonna
is more
try.
general. If you want to scope it out, it's more like particular questions.
Why don't I try scope it out here?
Okay.
I'll try to work out some basic information.
Yeah, looking at the situation here. Go ahead.
Let's see. Discharge virtual interface. So we all bubble on marks. And I think it'll probably be a disadvantage for. I mean, if there's anywhere that's information overload, it's the central information hub on Coriolis.
Absolutely.
Come back here, Di. Why are you running away? I'm scared too, but we're in this together. This is 7 minus 1 is 6.
Look at that 6. On a 6 or less, ask 1, but you won't like the answer.
Super. What is about to happen?
You can tell that the people who are the sort of agitating about the mystics here, very unhappy about it, are all signs point to them making a move. That they might take serious action, including possibly assassinating those mystics when they get here, obtaining particularly anti-psychic weapons or tools to do that. The hounds are not coming back here because Order Pariah wants to keep at least a little bit of plausible deniability here. But you can tell that while things are quiet right now, they may well explode.
And who are the mystics that are coming here?
So what it is, the mystics is that the Zenithians here are bringing a set of open psychics with modest abilities here to essentially provide their services on Coriolis Station. And there are a lot of people who are very unhappy with that, and a lot of people who are very excited about it. The Zenithians have been much more embracing of the possibilities of psychics.
And yeah, I think even though I had started by avoiding her, I think I'd end up going looking for Rishwan again.
Well, if it isn't my favored friend, it has been a while, a few days since you came and visited me and made threats. Here is this. Is this the moment that you come down and offer me apology? Did you bring a gift?
Threats? No, I am sorry. I've been under a lot of pressure recently, and things have been unexpectedly complex. I'm sorry if I pushed too hard.
There's the apology. Weak as it is.
Gift. Well, you brokered information, so in a way, the Zenithian entrepreneurial push, their opening up of professional psychics to push into the future, read the dark. People here, they're not just against it. Someone is planning something. Someone is gathering violence and weapons to turn against them. Someone is going to attack. If here on Coriolis, if the Zenithians themselves setting up a public operation, a business, a completely open book, they're trying to push this into the mainstream. If this turns around and they're killed, burned, run out of this place, there's no hope. The entire society will swing and push back against these sort of ideas. It can't happen here. It can't happen anywhere.
All right. I will look to see. You say that there's an organized plan. I will look to see if I can find out who might be smuggling in this weapon. They would have to do it very carefully undercover, and certainly Coriolis security would be watching for this kind of thing.
I'll point her to the sort of like hidden files that I'd run across in the data network.
All right. Well, it's a modest gift, but I will accept it. Candy, food is also welcome. Remember that next time.
It is ever the curse of life that successful work just rewards you with more work.
As you say. And you will after tea, Momaton, do you want to do it? Do you have any scenes you want to do, or do you want to do the scene with Nikos at the cafe, or do we want to move back to the ship? What would you like?
Sorry, can you repeat?
So, well, have everybody have a scene. Do you want to call a scene, or do you want to just move back to the ship?
I'm good moving back to the ship.
Okay. You spend some time, going and having some tea, moving around, making yourself seem legit, covering your tracks, but you do get back to the ship as quickly as you can with that in mind. And Kyrie is probably the last to return, given that he had to go into the underbelow. The group is there, and Captain Nikos, you will get your clearance to depart, and you can head out for the jump gate then.
Okay, so I think we'll have Mumaton do the jump since he hasn't done a jump yet.
Yeah, hasn't had the opportunity to do the hyperdrive roll.
All right, rock on. She'll be happy to do so.
There's in-system travel to the point in space where the jump gate is, where the portal is. There are ships queued up to get ready for that. There are calculations that are made. The portal itself is not a physical object, but is a hyperspace construct. The hyperdrive goes, connects up with the portal, and makes the jumps. And you will, Captain, you knew you were leaving quickly, so you placed a hold. I assume there are ships that will sit and hold your place in line, and you pay them some cred, and they'll pop out and let you in. And you will get ready for your jumps. And when you jump, everybody has to go and get themselves set and go to the sleep chambers. Essentially, and if you're using a sleep chamber, or most people are just in a chair with the injectors. Rich, please roll the hyperdrive roll.
All right, and that's on the ship. You power up your hyperdrive to jump to a remote or closer star system. Roll with weird. My weird is 0.
And just as a question, Lowell,
Yes.
like what would happen if someone, say, accidentally or potentially purposefully interfered with that whole sleep drug system?
Oh, well, people who don't go into hypersleep during these things essentially are destroyed.
I mean, destroyed is one thing, but I mean, it's just like a, on the edge of consciousness sort of thing, where one might
Destroyed.
slip a little bit into the dark. I've had issues before.
The people don't mess with it, but you could certainly try.
I think he would try something like lowering the dosage, just because he can feel this presence in his head that's not responding to him poking at it or trying to figure out things about it.
Oh, absolutely. We'll come back to that
Cool.
after we check in with Mumaton. Mumaton, what was your role?
We are good friends. I've rolled a 10. You travel with no complications.
Look, it's all good.
Sorry, but I did it good.
Kyrie, could you please roll assaulted with the dark at disadvantage?
But there was no complications. It's weird. So this will probably be fine. There's just those. That's a 6 plus 2 though. It's 8.
So that edge of consciousness that you leave open, when you do that jump, will realize what a terrible mistake you have made. That in between is both brief and endless. And the in between is where all of the things of the dark lie, reaching out, running their hands across the minds of those who travel through here, but because they're asleep, not gaining purchase. But then they realize that there is one that is awake, one that is partially there. And you'll feel that hunger of those things as they come through. And it is only because you have that contact with the Jinn that you are not instantly destroyed. Choose 2.
And just to clarify that thing with the Jinn, does that feel like in some way it's protecting me, or this is just a coincidental thing?
Oh no, you're its prey. No one else gets you.
Gotcha.
What do you want for the 2 choices from Assaulted on the Dark by the Dark?
Definitely the dark stares into you.
Okay.
Oh, why not? I have a lot of hooks, and I already have a hook sort of related to this, so we'll go fractal move spiral and go into a keep your cool to see how well I come out of this at the end.
Please roll keep your cool at disadvantage.
Spiral. So that's 5 plus 6. Six. Oh, you choose to.
What do I get? What'd you get?
I got a 6. I'm sorry. I'm used to my mic being much closer to my mouth. And I can
sorry. Mark 2 stress.
Oh, fun.
And here's the way I'm going to be generous now, because you've done this thing, and I've hit you with a very, very hard move here. I'll let you pick which question you want to answer from the Dark Stairs back. And if you don't want to answer one to this Jin who's occupying your mind, feel free to mark another stress. I'm just going to have a drink of your tears here.
It's so delicious. I think his darkest heart's desire right now is it's finding not just the order, but the people in the order responsible for his higher ideal self would say what they've done to the hounds. His baser id would say what they've done to me, and visit that same thing back on them.
Oh yeah, the Jin says, "Oh, I can help." I just need you to open up a little more. So we'll come back to that. So you will jump into eventually, after a couple jumps, to the Awadi system. This system that has mining, it actually has some military, like shipyard bases on the interior. But the main feature and the thing that you're going for as you come out and head in system is you're going for a planet called Denebula. And it is a gas giant, massive, swirling, purple, orange, and blue gas giant with multiple eyes roiling around the surface of it. And you will be heading there. There's other ships that you will see as you approach. But as you get to the what you're looking for, you will see a fleet. And it is the Kyber Swarm Nomad fleet. There are multiple ships here. Several big ships, lots of smaller ships. You'll see any ship that is of significant size has modular, like cutter ships attached to it that can go back and forth within the fleet. You can see that these are various different designs. These are, some fairly ancient, some more recent, but none more recent than, say, 20 years ago. Many of them you can see where they've had to rework for damage. Many of them are broken in places that make them look sort of twisted, even though the ships are clearly still functional. And they do have a few ships that are kind of running the stewardship for incoming, like they're waiting. This is a gathering of the swarm here. This is the heart of the fleet. There are some ships that you can see with other markings and designs from other nomad clans that are here. There is what you will recognize, you all know, is one of the largest ships is kind of a ship for guests, for people who come to call on the fleet. That's where you go, and that is all wondrous and brilliant. But the other thing that you will see in the distance, in the atmosphere of the planet, is you will see this massive crystalline black blue object, like a massive metal flower that is slowly opening in the sky, and you will realize that that is the legendary sun fan. It is an object built by the precursors. It opens on an annual basis, and when it does, it catches energies from the sun and casts them onto the surface of the atmosphere and crystallizes these mineral deposits in the atmosphere. And then prospectors, essentially, as I said before, bungee jump down into the atmosphere to go and try and collect these. And it is a rite of passage. It is a ritual here for Kyber Swarm people, and they also have people who are sort of professional prospectors who will come and grab these things. And you can see that it is in that process that's slowly beginning to open. Like that is the big point of this. And you will note, because you've probably seen nomad fleets before, that there aren't as many ships as you would expect, and aren't as many armed ships as you would expect. But we'll take our 5-minute break here, and then we will come back and we will bring you to the nomad visitor ship. Sound okay?
Okay.
Okay. Take 5. That can't.
She just wants to be a part of the game.
She does.
She also wants to dig out the mic box. So
That's how she's helping. That's how she's
Yes.
involved.
exactly, no foam will stay unchallenged in her.
She knows that that this is the time she can have attention away from the hated kittens. Hey,
Sorry, it took a minute.
that's okay. So you will get the comms communication, asking for purpose, get the statement. They make you hold for a bit while they kind of clear things, Captain Nikos. They come back and talk to you a couple of times during the wait. You will notice you've probably interacted with the different nomad fleets in the past, run into people. The Kyber swarm, the people here, I can't really do it, but imagine that when they talk in a very much in a kind of a sing-song way, like they try to have an up and down with the vocal tones of their conversation, like they're kind of rolling that along. And there's this weird habit that they have for rhyming through there that seems to be somewhat deliberate and somewhat unconscious. You know that poets are highly regarded here, and so people tend to fall back into that. But eventually, the comms will come through and go, Captain Nikos, we are so pleased. We have found a berth for you on the blessing, our guest ship. You will come and you will join us, and we will have someone to come to meet you regarding the transport of the cargo and the young people that you are bringing back to us. You are more than welcome. Transmission has been given to us, so we understand this. But I'm talking too much. Please come and dock here. And they send you that signal.
Yeah.
And when you dock, the kids are all like they've got their bags, they've got their stuff, and they're both anxious and excited and really nervous when you come there. And when you dock, it opens up, and it is a well-appointed ship. Like it is kept clean, modern. The area that you disembark into is there. You will see there are a couple of clearly, you would guess, some kind of like inspectors or something here that are dressed in a very deep blue outfit, clothing that are kind of standing by. And you will see this woman, very tall. She's maybe 6'2", smiling, kind of a crooked smile. You'll notice that she is missing her left arm, but she certainly doesn't hold herself like she's missing that arm. And she will come forward to you, and she will say, Captain Nikos.
I step forward.
She says, I am Heba Ghaffari. I am very, very, very pleased to have you aboard here. Please, and you can see that the kids are kind of looking around, and Heba turns to the kids and says, you will be taken and inspected, and then we will take you to your families. I know you would have hoped for them to be here, but want to give you a chance to acclimate before you go and visit with them. So please go with the inspectors here, and they will see to that. And the kids will go with them like this is a very normal thing, and they'll nod. They hand off like little like wrapped bags of candies and things that they've kind of staved up as gifts for all of you for having transported them. They tend to hand it to Nikos and Kala because Kyrie scares them, and Mumaton scares them. So they will head off, and Heba Ghaffari will turn to you and will say, I'm sorry, disrespectful again. I am, but please, who tell me about your crew. Let me meet these people who have been so generous with your time and effort. Please.
Yeah, and I will introduce my crew. I mean, I'm sure they can get their names anyway. So yeah.
This is excellent. We're very glad to have you here. I had on the transmission that not much payment had been offered. We can cover your fuel, and we perhaps can offer you a chance to watch the ceremonies and allow us to have you come to one of the larger ships and be guests of the family. Normally, outsiders remain here on the blessing, but we would love for you to come aboard one of the main ships, such that we can give you our thanks as properly as we can.
Well, thank you. To witness the opening of the Sunflower is a rare honor, and we are extremely grateful.
Well, it is a striking event. Perhaps maybe one of you will want to participate in the rite. She says, sort of laughingly, in that way of course you wouldn't because you'd all die, kind of way that she kind of laughs.
Oh, is that permissible?
She stops.
What would the rite entail?
Well, we allow any of our people who are aboard the fleet to attempt a dive into the atmosphere with the proper equipment.
And would it be possible to borrow some equipment? I mean, this sounds like
no. We have this cover. We would not allow anyone to go without the right gear. We would. Are you interested in?
I would certainly consider it. I mean, I would, of course, need to familiarize myself with the gear, but certainly this would be an exciting experience.
Are there rites and prayers involved? What is?
Oh, there are many prayers involved.
What is the spiritual significance of the dive?
It is a risk, a chance. It is the place where we honor the gambler the most amongst the icons. It is his their day of blessing for us. The gambler is not normally high in our estimation, but on these days they have full access, I guess I wish to say, at that time. But we do rites and blessings, especially to help such that those who die in the process their spirits go on.
I think Cairo will sort of continue in that like excited, interested kid sort of way, just like asking him more and more questions about the ritual and the process.
Listen, I am not an expert on the ritual side of things, but I will have a speaker come and talk with you about that. But are you interested in coming aboard one of the larger ships?
Certainly, that would be wonderful.
Excellent. So I will have you wait here for a little bit, and I will have a transport called to take you across. And so she does the comms thing, and she hear talk, and then she goes, "It will be about an hour." Um, but come and sit. Actually, Let's go to one of the guest areas where we have food and provisions and a drink. I assume that you have been living on ship food for a little while, so we will provide you with perhaps a better repast. And she'll take you down. You can see that the people here are merchants, are who are hoping to trade for the crystals that are recovered. They are engineers who are here wanting to watch this, and scientists, and they are prospectors who will, once all of the rites and rituals are done, will do their own dives. And so they're waiting. Hardened, grizzled risk taker. They have that look of people who none of them are like hot shot. They're all like very clearly knowing that multiple dives, each dive increases the chance that they will not come back, kind of thing. And they have their own gear for this. And Heba, she will sit down and she will say, "So, you were on Mira and picked them up from the circus fleet there."
Yes, I was. As a child, I too considered running away to join the circus. It's one of my regrets that I never had this adventure. Your children are very brave to have even considered such a thing.
They are brave. We do not look askance when they choose another path. If they wish to settle on the lands, that is fine. Some do not enjoy the life that we take, and of course, when the circus comes, it is a bright and shining event, and it draws their eyes away. But we do not begrudge them those choices, provided that they have not taken up a role, that they have not committed themselves to something else. We allow them to go. And she will talk generally about things. I don't know if there's any conversational bits you want to throw in here, anything you want to get from her in the course of this conversation.
Right. Well, if Argamina comes up, then I'll gently probe for information, but I'm not going to bring it up myself.
Okay. And to refresh for Rich, Argamina is the person that they are looking for, and they know that she is some kind of seer, but that's about the extent of the knowledge that they have about her.
Yeah, I mean, and I will ask about the seers in general at some point. Just get some general information.
That when you kind of broach onto that is the bit of the part where she avoids the subject. Like she goes, "Oh yes, but there are certain people who call on these things," but then moves on.
Okay.
Like it's not necessarily a thing that we discuss with outsiders, kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
And she will say, finally, "I must ask, if I may, to you, sir, these tattoos. They're unlike any that I have seen before."
I've spent my life searching. In some ways, I suppose I could be described as a non-believer, but in other ways, I am a deep believer, just unsure of any one path. I seek for whatever help or solace or wisdom that can be found in any sort of tradition I've come across, and these markings are the prayers, the rituals that touched me deepest.
Fair enough. As you eat, Mumbutun, you will notice a couple of times because you've been around veterans, you're very conscious of this. A couple of times, she clearly leans to go and like pick up a cup or eat something with the missing arm, but she stops herself and goes and reaches with the other hand. And she definitely has a bearing of someone who has been in some scrapes. And she'll get the yes. Do you want to say something?
Nope.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. She will say, "All right, let us go." She say, "The transport is here. Let me walk you down, and we will head on over." And she will lead you to one of these transport skiffs. She will say to you, Captain Nikos, do you have a crew or an AI that will take care of your ship, or do you wish me to put a watchman on your ship?
We have an AI on our ship. No watchman is necessary.
Yeah, the AI comes through over your comms and says, "Yes, finally, you're going to mention me. That's great. Yeah, I'll just sit here while you go off and do things. You can go off. It'll be great. I'll just lock the ship down. I'll let you back in when you come, probably." Well, that's great. She says, "Let us go." And she loads you onto a skiff, and it is kind of a wild ride. All of you have been around orbital shipyards and things like that from time to time. You all know how challenging it can be to calculate all the vectors of things moving around here. And of course, there's still space garbage and things. You will see one of the ships that appears to be venting like air and other things out. Sort of unusually, you'll see there's a whole host of these like transport skiffs around it, like hovering around it as it's venting. So that creates a whole additional set of challenges for the flight here. But your pilot is clearly very used to moving in these spaces, zipping between little skiffs, cutting. There's probably some shouting, da 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 da, over the thing of "I'm flying here," as they're going along. But you will head to what is clearly the main ship, the largest, the ship that's at the heart of this place. And you will lock onto one of the transport skiffs there, and they will have you unload with Heba, and you can see that there are some more of those people in dark blue that are there waiting. And Heba will turn to you and will say, "We rarely bring guests on board the main ship, but we wish to thank you for the effort that you have made. We have inspectors that will weigh you and assess the goods that you have on board, so that we can calculate for jumps and so on. It is a formality. We do a medical check and so on. Given the population of the ship, as you can understand, why we would do this in a more controlled way. I hope that none of you will object to it. If you do, I can certainly send you back."
See, Cal look over at Mumatan and give her the thumbs up.
Okay.
Yeah, Mouton doesn't look super happy about this, but she kind of expected it.
There's a male who will come and checks, doesn't take anything from you, just inventories what you have, weighs you, does a med scan. I mean, takes you off in private and does that, checks you over, and clearly gets some biometric readings from you, and he certainly errs on the side of caution there. And then the woman comes to you. You will definitely notice that they have the icons of the deckhand, that the markers of that icon very prominently on them. What weapons do you have with you, Mumaton, that they will make note of?
What weapons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that she has brought the. I mean, nobody's going to care about her Arx Omir pistol, but the Vulcan Carbine, the Mercurium sword probably are noteworthy, as well as the various grenades she has secreted on her person.
Are you concealing the grenades?
No. I do think that she probably has like a little holdout pistol of some kind that she has stuck in a boot somewhere, like in a little pocket, but it's tiny. I mean, it's just to harm. It's no big deal.
So they will. The pistol, they're like fine. Oddly, the sword, they're like fine. When it comes to the carbine and the grenades, they're like, these weapons have greater potential for damage on board our ship.
It's true. It's true.
We would ask that we would hold these until you depart.
Very well.
Do you show them your licensing at that point too, I assume?
Yeah, I think she'll show the licensing. It never works, but it's always nice to whip out.
Yeah, they will look at it, and there's a conversation that they will have, and they will say, "You may carry the carbine. You are a bonded trooper. You are under your oath to protect and serve. So we'll accept that. The grenades, however, are still
understood."
Yeah.
She'll hand over the grenades, and then she very obviously shows that she puts the carbine on, like clips on the safety, and then she'll sling it.
Okay. And after that inspection, you'll be brought by Heba into out into the ship and start moving through it. It is big on the inside, but the thing that strikes you is you're used to the metal walls of your ship, the essentially the very much the steel that the ship is. All the walls are structure. Once you get in a little ways, all the walls that you are seeing are plastic or cloth or framed up with cloth. It's as you start moving through, it is everything aimed to be light. You'll see that they've got plastics that are that kind of reactive plastic where you can draw on them or paint electrically on them, and so they've got patterns and things like that. And then lots of places where rooms and areas are clearly just bordered by walls of cloth that have been painted and dyed, and like the light comes through, like you can see shadows of people in there, and it is packed up. And Heba will say, "You are welcome to travel anywhere on board the ship. You are, with the exception of the armory and the flight deck or the engineering, the engines without permission. But let me first take you to your rooms," and she will provide you with individual rooms. These are heavier plastic walls, clearly to give you some modicum of privacy, but they are very small rooms because there are lots of people aboard this ship. And the thing that you will mostly smell through here is kind of a combination of incense and plastic. You can see they've got lots of those smokeless incense things around and about. But you can also tell that there's plastic particles in the air. Like those must be harder to scrub from the atmospheric system. Like they can get metal filings and things, they can pull those off with magnets, but plastic is a little bit harder. So Heba will say, do you want me to take you to meet the matriarch now? Or would you like to have some time to yourselves to explore?
I would prefer to rest and freshen up before meeting the matriarch, perhaps later.
So yes, let us say that we'll have a light lunch brought to you, but we will call for you this evening for dinner. I will have someone sent for you.
Yeah, and when we're in private, I'm going to be using my security tablet to try to access whatever information is public and slightly less public to see if I can find out something about Argamina.
Okay. Let's have you roll with to get share expertise.
Okay. That is a 4.
So you will notice that there are a lot of names here. You know, they have the registry of people here, but Argamina's name is not listed, and it doesn't appear listed on any of the public or even sort of like slightly sub-public listings. And mark XP. Bumaton, you're given a few hours, some time here on this ship to yourself. What's your mode for that when this goes on?
Check in with Kyrie, make sure that he's okay. Okay, does Kyrie respond? Is he okay? So basically check in with each of the members of the crew to make sure that they are not worried, feeling unsafe. That's the main priority for her at first.
I think as you check in with Kyrie, he's like changing into whatever sort of robes some of the like priests or people that were getting ready to go through the rituals were wearing, and he looks very excited. And like, unless someone says I need you to do this or reminds him that, you know, there may be other parts of this mission, he's like 100% in on going to start learning the prayers and the ritual and get involved in this.
Why are you participating in this, Kyrie?
It's his, it's a ritual. It's a belief I've never seen before, and it only happens, what was it, once a year? So it's rare to get an opportunity like this to run across it. I want to learn everything I can from it.
Seems like you'd be putting yourself in a great deal of danger.
What do you think religions are about?
Safety.
No, learning, knowledge, doing. Those things are about safety. Those things are about surety, being able to replicate things over and over again with the same input. Faith is about danger. Worship, belief is about opening yourself up to something infinitely stronger than you, infinitely more powerful than you, and with more impact on yourself than you could ever have. real faith is a dangerous thing, but the rewards can be great.
Perhaps. Zealots on the ass end of the universe make me nervous, Kyrie. I don't want to lose you.
Maybe enlightened, maybe. You don't really know until you try, and you can't try just by watching other people do it.
I know I don't want to swallow the business end of a pistol, but I don't need to try it. But it is your life. Kalaba, are you all right?
And you'll see that she's changed into essentially the clothes that were provided, but they aren't like priest clothes or anything. She picked out the most, I suppose, celebration clothing. So probably the most colorful of the options that she has. And she's sort of like, this is pretty cool. Look at these. And she's looking at the fabric walls. She goes, look, there are ribbons. They have patterns that are there to lead you to somewhere, because this place must be a maze. We should pick a ribbon and go see what's there.
If you wish, yes. We should
I do.
check in on the captain first before we...
Really? I assume he's getting ready for the jump. But okay, let's do it.
Nikos.
Yes,
Are you all right?
I'm fine. Why would you ask?
Well, you expressed interest in what seemed like a suicidal activity. I assume that this is part of a con.
I'm sure it's not suicidal. I mean, if kids do it, how hard can it be?
I don't remember them mentioning the people who would return. This seemed like a one-way trip to me.
I mean, if it looks too dangerous, I won't do it. Besides, we need an excuse to stick around long enough to find Argamina.
Okay, so that's our primary purpose.
Oh yeah, this
You
will just be
understand?
for fun.
Our definitions of fun have never aligned. Kyrie is convinced that this is something that will bring him a kind of enlightenment, and I don't think he's going to back out of this. You're aware of that, right?
Oh yes, he is. He has very strong religious views. I've learned not to get in the way.
That is what religion is for, getting in the way.
Our views on our religion have never aligned.
Indeed. I wanted to check on you before Kalaba and I go out into the common area. Is that where we are headed?
The maze, yes.
The maze.
Okay.
Ribbon.
Okay, you girls have fun.
Thank you.
We'll come back to Momoton and Caliban in a second. But Kyrie, there will be a musical tone in your room, and you're like looking around, and it takes you a minute to realize that seems to be like that is the doorbell essentially that they have. Or a cat sound, either one.
There's this insistent meowing.
And when you go to open the door, there is a young woman in kind of a priest outfit, and she has the icon markings of the gambler, and she says, You're Kyrie?
Yes.
My name is Cece, and I was sent down to come and bring you to explain the risks in the process.
Yes. Beautiful. Wonderful. Let's get started. I'd like to learn as much as I can.
Absolutely. I understood there was another who might wish to be doing this.
Oh, yes. The captain. He's flat. Is right down this way.
Oh, come. And Nikos, there's that sound of the musical tone.
And I will answer the door.
And her reaction is that kind of, because you're a good looking man. And you see that she kind of steps back and kind of her head goes down in a way it didn't go with Kyrie. You are Captain Nikos?
Yes.
My name is Cece. I've come to collect you and your friend for learning the ritual.
Wonderful. And I give her a big smile.
And she's like, "You should come follow me." And she heads off with the two of you trailing. We'll take you to sort of the far end of the ship where there is one of those big view screens that looks down onto the planet, and there's a group of like a dozen and a half young men and women, 18 to 21. They are seated there. They are talking, and CC brings you in, and there's a lot of who was, very much, what is going on, and you will see this older woman comes over to you and she says, "My greetings to you, martyrs to the cause. You are Nikos?"
Yes, and this is my friend Kyrie.
I am Ilumur. I am the speaker for the gambler in these days. You are ready to learn how to throw the dice?
Yeah, yes, at least this particular form of throw. I have thrown many forms of dice.
Well, then perhaps the gambler will look on you favorably, and we'll give you the luck that you will so need. And you, good sir, Kyrie?
Yes. I understand that there were prayers to prepare for this.
Absolutely. We have invocations to the gambler. We have invocations to the Lady of Tears to cleanse our soul for those who do not return, and invocations to the judge. May he have mercy on us in these days.
Terry looks sort of uncomfortable at the mention of the judge.
But we begin with training on how to use the suits.
But first, there's this 30-minute safety video.
Yeah. She goes, we will spend most, you were lucky you came before we began learning the process. We will show you how to use the suits. You will be doing some trials to make sure that you can handle the stress of the G's that are involved. And I trust that neither of you have heart conditions.
No, we are both skilled spacemen with a great deal of experience handling technical equipment, and not this particular variety, but I'm sure we'll pick it up quickly.
Yeah.
We've been in a few exciting situations.
Well, she will bring you down, drop you into the crowd. The young men and women are looking at you, because you look weird and exotic, Kyrie. And Nikos, you're a good-looking, smiling, older male, and they're all, there's a lot of what's going on here. But she will eventually bring and open up this area and kind of pull back the things, and there is a suit. And I trust that both of you have seen what deep water hard diving suits look like. The big bubble on them, the hard points on it, and that is what this looks like. She will say, this is one of the suits. It takes some strength to manage, and your mobility is limited in it, but it will protect you from the storms that you'll be diving into, and the radiation, and many but not all of the things that you'll be facing there. So we will be. I have 2 suits here, and we would be training on working with those. And you can see that they're actually on like cords, so they can suspend you and have you like try to move and keep your balance in it as they lift you off the ground. And this is going to be a couple of boring ass hours. But Kyrie, what is the worst thing about getting into this suit?
I think it's that like trying to balance properly on the end of this wire. Like Kyrie just spends a lot of his time like
Muted.
Just sort of like, okay, I got it. And then he flips upside down. And he's just hanging there helplessly for a few minutes and just like, when did you say we're getting to the prayer part of this?
That will be the rituals tomorrow. We will go through those. But we need you to be ready to do the physical actions that are required. I would not send anyone unprepared down into the storm.
Just help me, flip me.
Okay, let's get you righted there. A lot of the kids here, they clearly all have, like you, spacesuit 0G experience. I must answer that. Alan is out for tonight's game. They are used to 0G suits, but they're not used to this. Like these suits are heavy, hard to move, and really challenging. And so all of them are working at it. Nikos, how do you make it look easy?
I think I've used some similar equipment before at some point, and like when she's demonstrating the drop into the atmosphere, like I'm able to do. I recognize that I can do a flip, which will put me in the perfect position at the bottom, and she hasn't explained that part yet.
You do that, and you see there are boys and girls who are like, oh my gosh, look at that. And Illuminor
Somebody
says,
turned me around. What did he do?
Yeah, it's just a little
it-
trick for stabilizing yourself that I picked up.
we will come to that. And she turns to the rest. Don't try that until I show you how to do that. But they are impressed. And, you're working alongside them. You're going through this process, and you will definitely get the sense that once you start doing it, once you demonstrate the willingness to do it and the skill and so on, that you get this feeling like they're very much more accepting of you. And at the end, Illuminor will come over and say, "You're both brave," and she will hand you a little a pad, and she'll say, "These are the prayers we'll be reciting tomorrow. If you wish to go over them, you may wish to think on this tonight. We'll ask you again tomorrow if you do wish to do this or not. There is no shame in changing your mind." And she will bow and let you go. Let's come back to Mumaton and Kalaba. Kala, what are you trying to find? What are you doing?
I think she wants to figure out, like, essentially the maze, how the maze works. So her theory is that there's the ribbons of color that like trace through certain parts of the fabric wall or even the plastic things that you can follow. It looks like a design, but you can notice continuity and then things like stopping at certain corners and not picking up later and things like that. So she's that's her theory right now. So she wants to follow a few and figure it out.
Yeah, and you will see places where that is expertly woven into the designs. Again, like so much of the artwork, they don't do representational things very much. Sometimes they do of the icons, but they don't do landscapes or people or things like that. It's abstractions and colors and designs and mathematical presentations of things. You'll move through these hallways. Passing by, you'll see a place where people are playing games. You hear the clacking of tiles, playing something that's not unlike dominoes. You'll pass by places where people are practicing songs. It's clearly, this is all a big celebration, so there's a lot of that kind of thing. You'll be Mumaton, you're probably a little bit startled because you'll hear this coming towards you, and then you'll see these kids on skateboards come rolling past you. They clearly use this to get around the ship faster. They've got these little narrow skateboards that zip them around, and you will see more of those people in the dark blue that are clearly the order of the deckhand that are checking on things. And you'll see some people who are marked with the Order of the Traveler. That seems to be the two big icons that are going on around here. And yes, it definitely has a pattern to it. Why don't you make a scope it out roll for me, Sherry?
Okay. Let's see here. Using the first two green. And so that's a 12.
Okay. So I'm going to let you ask two questions, and I'm going to tell you something.
Okay.
So the thing I'm going to tell you is you'll realize as you're moving around through here, there are no maps, but they're just these patterns and things like that. And you move around. You have a pretty good sense because you built ships from the outside about what the space is, how big it is, and so on. There are at least two sections that these ribbons, these maps, these arrows don't go to.
Mm.
And you can kind of mark those out in your mind where those are at.
Okay.
And then you can ask a couple of questions.
Let's see here. Well, what here will give me an edge if I have to find my way correctly around? Now, I'm looking for anything that gives me a sense of what unmarked things or kind of combination markings that might be a shortcut through to things.
Well, I think what you will realize is there are some of these like panels, these cloth panels, where there's an additional set of things that almost kind of cross the path that are very clearly like for those in the know, this is the place to start moving into the hidden sections of the ship.
So they're like the doorways or the
Yeah, like there's just a little bit of like a purple ribbon that crosses with the verdant green here, and you've seen that. You haven't seen it anywhere else, kind of thing.
Okay, great.
And what is your other question?
Other question is, what here is not what it appears to be?
There's a little bit of tension on the ship, a little undercurrent of worry that is going on. And what you will hear is that a number of the escort ships got called to a distress call. And they're worried about what's going on with them. They're worried that they're going to get back in time. That seems to be an issue that is percolating throughout the ship.
Interesting.
Does that seem fair?
Yes. But the most important part is that while I'm walking with Pbta, I say, I'm so glad that you're back. Because it's good to have someone who can talk sense to the captain. I mean, I would like to, but he just says words and my brain stops. I don't know what to say. He's talking and he just throws out girls. And I'm like, what? Did he just call me a girl? Am I supposed to say something about that? What am I supposed to do? And you just keep on going. I super respect that.
We all have our own attributes we bring. You have your strengths. He has his.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad to be back too. It's nice to be among people I can talk to. What are you finding? Are you enjoying these ribbons?
Oh, wait. And she'll point out if we need to get into the secret areas or the non-public areas, just go through with the green and the purple. And yeah. And
Like this?
oh, I guess we can peek, and we will. Pbta's so brave. I never do those things until I've decided that I'm going to commit to true testing.
And
Control case.
you open. I mean, this door slides. It's not locked. You can move down in. There's a corridor there. You kind of follow it back, and you will come to a room. There's again the cloth, and you can see that there's someone in there.
All right.
What are they doing?
Yeah. What?
They seem to be like the base of the lighting that you get. They seem to be seated at a low table. They might be reading.
Is there anything to give us any sense of what do you say? What the room is intended for? Is it just a hotel room, or another thing? Or is
It might be. It might be that, or it might be a crossroads. You're not sure.
And I'll sort of say, "Excuse me."
The figure kind of looks up, and when it kind of looks up and leans back, you realize that whatever the shadow you're getting, this person is big.
Really?
Yeah. Enter.
Oh, thank you. And we'll step through. And I'll stop and say, I think I made a mistake. I was looking for the washroom. And she goes, I'm not even sure where we are right now.
And you will see there's this table. There are a couple of doors that clearly go out of this room. There's this low table. There are a couple of other tables here and things. It almost looks like a rec room in some ways. And you will see this guy stand up, grizzled, old and grizzled. And the thing that will draw your eye, Mumaton, is the ports that he has on the side and on the back of his hands that are built in multiple places that will tell you that this is a guy who has used advanced battle armor. And he stands up with that slow kind of thing, and he'll say, well, I do not know you.
We are guests. And she goes, we brought back some of the kids from the circus. So they let us come to see all of the festivities here on this ship. I don't know you. So my name is Kalaba.
Greetings to you, Kalaba. I am Gulav.
Gulav. It is good to meet you. And she'll nudge Mumaton.
Mumiton.
Are you the bonded trooper that came aboard?
I am.
Oh, we are well met then. There is a washroom near here if you need to use it. I don't normally get company down here too much. I am the only one at present in these chambers.
I'm sorry. And she kind of goes, like looking for the direction she's going to leave you there to talk. And
He points you just down this way and off their plastic doors there.
Thank you. And she'll scurry off.
See your ports. You've worn heavy armor.
I have. But it's been some years.
Better an old soldier than a dead soldier.
There are very few old soldiers, so I count myself lucky in that regard. And yourself, bonding is significant. You must have had some serious campaigns.
I've been lucky. Others have not.
I understand. And he'll gesture for you to come and sit.
I'll move over and sit, but she's still like in armor, still kind of encased in her protective layer, as it were. She hasn't let that guard down yet.
And you will sit and you will notice for you, very distinct smell of opor here. He says, I'm the last one in these chambers. Is where old war horses go to pasture, as it were.
Pasture. Yes, you're quite the stallion, aren't you?
No, I'm an old gray mare.
And she reaches up, and you kind of hear that psst as she peels down the mask and pulls back the hood. Shows her close-cropped hair and looks on him.
It definitely kind of goes, you're a humanite.
I am. Do you need me to leave?
No. There are our particular fleet has always been more open and accepting. There are some who might object, but I've fought alongside your people more times than I can count.
That's what we're bred for.
Some are, not all.
That's what I was bred for.
Do you mind if I imbibe while you are here? It's when I seeing you a warrior brings back flashes of the past for me a little.
May only partake if you are willing to share.
And tell me, what do you think Opor is? We've established it as a drug. It clearly helps deaden. Is it something we smoke? Is it eaten? What do you think
I'm imagining like similar to opium, to kind of lean into the Arabic nice kind of feel of the setting. So probably something that's smoked.
Yeah, like a water pipe, a little more sophisticated, like a little more industrial, and he'll hand you a pipe, and he will smoke, and it is that kind of brings your tension level down a degree. Kala, when you return and see these two, and you will now recognize the smell of that smoke, what is your reaction to that?
I have to imagine that Kala knows Mumatan indulges. And pretty much her first thing is that she just checks to make sure her vitals are okay. She like picks her scanner up and makes sure, because she's seen Mumatan kind of overdo it, and so she's just sort of watching for that, where she gets super sleepy and all that, because we're going to have to get back to the thing. So she'll probably just kind of come and plop down next to her.
Eventually, Gulov says, "So why are all of you here? You're not just bringing circus children back."
Well, one of us is here because they want to experience a new religious experience. They've been broken and shattered by many, and wish to learn new things. And another is in search of someone.
So one is taking the dive.
I believe they both are.
Oof. I did it. It was... up until that point in my life, it was the scariest thing I'd ever done. That's why I went to war. I saw the woman that I thought I would marry be pulled away, torn from the line, tossed down into the clouds below. So I became a soldier for the Federation.
There's honor in that.
There is, but, and he kind of points to the ports, when you're young and stupid, sometimes you take on tasks that are bigger than you.
She reaches up and takes his hand and kind of gently runs her fingers along the ports.
23 years in that suit.
It's a long time, friend.
They had to bring me back here screaming when it was destroyed. You've been my only friend for 23 years. Don't wear a suit like that. That armor you have is enough.
It's been enough so far.
And yeah, he will sit there and kind of companionably talk with you then.
Cool. I will ask about Nikos' sister.
Or the person you guys are looking for?
Right. I'm sorry. We're not looking for this. For some reason, I thought that's who we were looking for.
She's a seer.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. The seer. Seer. Okay. So I'll ask about our seer.
And he says, Argamina. Kind of looks around like not supposed to talk about Argamina kind of thing. And he says, she's an oracle, a prophet here, but not of our people. She came to us 20 some years ago, not unlike me, broken and hurt, but we nursed her back to health, and she showed us the gifts that she has. You will have to speak with the sheikh to meet with Argamina.
All right.
She has several husbands, and they are a little protective of her. I will also tell you that.
Protective husbands have never bothered me.
He laughs. He goes, but I would be cautious how you present that, how you say those names around. It is. She is a person that there's a darkness about her, though she controls it well. But when someone of her skill has felt the darkness, has seen it, you can tell that they will not be the same. Well, you should head on, and perhaps I will see you again, Mumaton, Kala.
Yes, that sounds lovely. Will you be going to any of the celebrations?
I don't think my heart could bear it.
I understand.
But if you have time, and you would spare this old war horse some of that, if you were to visit me again, I would not look unkindly on it.
As long as we're not forced out, I will make it an effort for sure.
And he will nod. Let's bring everybody back together again, shall we? Back in the rooms after Kala and Mumaton exploring, and Kyrie and Nikos getting this training and meeting these people. And we'll assume you'll share your experiences. Kyrie, I am curious how you describe what went on.
Well, I mean, we prepared our bodies for the journey, because the first step in preparing the soul and the mind is of course training the body, and so Kyrie will express that he diligently trained his body all day long until most of the other supplicants had left, and we were getting ready to close down the training area.
And Kyrie looks perhaps a little bit piqued.
Okay. So it went well.
Yes, in the long run, I think everything went well.
Excellent.
And there will be that musical tone at the door that you recognize as them ringing the doorbell effectively. And when you open it, you will see that Heba herself is there. And she says, I have come to gather you to bring you to the feast. Will you come?
Certainly. Just a moment while we change.
Please, I will wait.
Yes. And I go and I dress in my fanciest captain's uniform.
Kala, you staying in the colorful garb? Kyrie, you're the sort of pilgrim's garb that you've chosen?
Yes, a fresh one that's not like sweat stained and wrinkled from the harness and everything.
Mumaton, what about you?
Oh, I'm a bonded warrior. I am armored up, and I can kill everyone that we need to kill.
Okay. The when you've changed, Heba will come and will take you clearly towards both the front and kind of upper part of the ship. It gets a little bit fancier up here, and will bring you into this massive room. It's the largest room you've seen through here. The multiple tables around, and you can see that there are people here from some of the other nomad federations. Like there are tables of them, and it all is kind of in a U shape, so that people can come down in the middle, and you can see the sheikh is there, this older woman who is seated at the head of the table. There are a couple people there. Heba will show you a table where there are some others, particularly you will see Ilumer, the gambler trainer, is seated with you, and you will see Heba goes up and actually sits at the right hand of the sheikh, and you'll be fed amazing things. You're used to in your travels that you don't usually get real meat. Especially on spaceships and things, it's just not a thing that is useful. But you're also used to synth meat, things that are made to look like meat, things that are made to look like lamb or pork or whatever that is presented. There's none of that here. It's all vegetarian, and any kind of thing like that is protein is put in with the meal there. But it's all sauces and various dishes that are passed around. It's all heavily spiced. There are musicians that are playing. People are mingling, moving around throughout here. Kyrie, the thing that probably catches your eye is that you will see Heba is drinking, but the cup is floating. And you will see her eating, and you can see that she's missing an arm, but it's apparently there in some way. And she is eating using that, and nobody here amongst this federation seems to look at askance. There are some people from the other nomad groups that are kind of like, they avert their eyes when they see that. And eventually, they will bring the sheikh over to your table, to where you are at. And Heba will say to you, honored guests, this is Isantu. She is our sheikh. She is the leader of our caravan. And she's maybe in her 50s, so not too old, but she'll look at you and she will say, you have my dearest thanks for having brought back some of our wayward children to us. I hope they were not too much trouble in their time aboard your ship.
Now, and Callis stops and says, no, they were charming and full of life and ideas.
She will say, I hope you have enjoyed your day here amongst our people.
You have some fascinating traditions here.
Yes, the blend of physicality with the worship of the icons, it's very unusual and interesting.
I am glad it meets your approval, and I understand that two of you are, and she kind of looks at Illumer and says, two of you are going to dive tomorrow.
Yes, it is. I'm looking forward to the experience.
Whatever you can grab from the atmosphere is yours. Just know that we will not. You will be allowed to walk away. If you can harvest some, it is yours to keep.
Yes, well, I have no great ambitions as a novice. If I am even able to bring back a token from the atmosphere, I will count myself fortunate.
I'm hoping to invoke the spirit of the ritual and at least walk away with that experience.
Good. I am glad. Is there anything else that you require?
Not at the moment, but I do find myself, if it is not impertinent for an outsider, I find myself curious about some of your religious rituals. If I do not wish to offend, I have the sense that some of your practices are things not to be spoken lightly of.
For brow furrows, what do you speak of?
Oh, just when I brought up the seers earlier, it seemed that was something that they did not wish to speak of to outside. Perhaps I was mistaken.
Please roll manipulate.
Let's see, which stat is manipulate?
That is slick.
Oh, good. I made it up to a 7.
She looks at you and she says, the seers are not part of our religious practices.
Oh, I had not understood that.
Who spoke to you of the seer? That you would come and ask this thing?
Why, no one of this system. There is simply a woman named Argamina, who I understood was in among your community, who came here many years ago. We are acquainted with some of her old friends.
She looks at you and she says, are you with the Foundation? And you see some people around get like tense.
And I get this angry, and I said, absolutely not. And I am genuinely angry.
And you will see Heba kind of put what is clearly both hands, but you just see the one, everyone, calm. And she will turn and say, Mother, why don't you, I will speak to them on this. You may go back to the table. And the sheikh will fall away and head back. And she will say, there have been attempts to kill Argamina in the past, and there have been attempts by the Foundation to come here and take her.
And I promise, my apologies. I didn't mean to. I did not wish to bring up sensitive subjects. I assure you, we have no evil intentions.
I will see. I will speak with my mother and see if I can calm her. And she is important to us, though of late her visions have been more erratic, but she has helped us. it was she who saw that my arm still remained.
And I get a slightly puzzled look.
You will rest tonight, and tomorrow we will do the ritual, and then I will make sure that you can speak with Argamina.
Thank you. That is very kind. You are exemplary hosts. I am very grateful.
You are guests, and we owe all good manners to guests who come. I should circulate.
Yeah.
And Illumer says, "Oh, it's a good gamble there, Captain Nikos. Not a full payoff like you would have wanted, but I could sense the risk that you took there."
And I shrug casually and say, I am pleased that I did not offend too greatly.
And the banquet will wrap up. You will head back to your rooms, and probably have a chance to converse there. And I think it is several hours into the night that Mumitan, you will wake up, because just at the periphery of your vision, you have heard the sound of gunfire. Like, not enough that anyone else wakes up, but you know what that sounds like. You know what it sounds like aboard a ship. You know what it sounds like going through walls, and you will hear that sound, and you come to immediately. And that is where we're going to take up next time. All right. End of session. First of all, let's mark that fuse. Oh, look, maintenance past due. Put a little X in that. And we'll put a little X in the fuse. And all right. We ask our end of session questions. Did you complete a mission or contract? Yes. You delivered the kids. We finally got the XP for that. So everybody gets to mark an XP. Did you learn something new and important about the universe? Kala, what'd you learn?
Oh, everything about the nomads is all brand new and fabulous to me. But I kind of really like the lightened ships with the fabric walls and all that. Was awesome detail about essentially stripping it out so that they can keep on going. That was awesome.
Nikos, what did you learn?
And I think I learned something about the nature of the seers.
Absolutely. I think that's fair. Rich, what did you learn?
Mumitan learned firsthand about the hard suits and heavy troopers. I think that was one of the things most important to her.
And Kyrie, what did you learn?
I think I definitely learned about this, like the fate tied up in this sort of captainless jump in a really interesting way. I think Kyrie really learned that.
Okay. Yeah, so everybody gets to mark an XP for that. I don't think you made a new enemy or thwarted an existing enemy, except for Nikos.
Okay.
And then this is an individual question. Oh yeah, actually, because it's an answer as a group, actually everybody gets to mark that XP because Nikos has gotten you in trouble with Coriolis security.
Yay!
And then
It'll be fine. It'll be
fine.
fine.
It'll be good. What's the worst that could happen?
This is an individual question. Sherry, did one or more of your hooks create problems? You muted? Take a drink.
Let's see. I'm working on it, but it hasn't created a problem.
Okay.
Speaking the truth, and never seeing it in my companions, just implicitly. Again, no problems. But
Okay.
it's always,
Let's make sure we can lean into that next time, okay?
yep. Let's do that.
And then what about you, Nikos?
I don't think so. The Foundation's research division came up, but I don't think it really caused a problem.
Okay. And you didn't go gamble at the casino. You didn't get distracted by that, so that seems
No.
fair. What about you, Kyrie? Did any of yours? Oh yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, the gin and the jump there. I thought that was an interesting expansion on that, learning a bit more of it, but giving it more of a hook into it as well.
And Mumatun, we got the Opor on camera, and I think that's fair.
You think it counts? It didn't cause trouble.
No, but it revealed something to your crewmates about that. We got that scene, so I think that's worth getting an XP for that.
All right, I'll take it.
All right, so we will take up next week. We'll do Stars and Wishes after that session because we do it every other. And that's where we're at. Any questions, anything we want to say before we wrap?
No, good session.
Okay, awesome. Then I'm going to end the broadcast. I'm going to click that button. Yes, I want to end the broadcast. Thank you.